Hi, Director Gray. Good afternoon. Welcome everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is December the 11th. This is the Finance Administration Committee and a special meeting of Board of Directors of the West Basin Water District. So with that, we'll go ahead and determine if we have a quorum. Jay calls one, do a roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Director Harold Williams.
Here.
Director and Chair Scott Houston.
Here.
Director Gloria Gray.
Here.
Director Don Deere. Director Desi Alvarez. Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Good. We have our members and our alternates. So let's go. Public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak either here or online?
Mr. Chairman, we have not received any requests for public comment for this meeting today, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there are any members of the public that would like to make public comment, now would be the time to do so. Please indicate so by raising your virtual hand at the top of your screen. Mr. Chairman, I do not see any requests.
Okay, thank you, EJ. All right, action calendar item 5A, approval of minutes. I jumped over presentation, but there aren't presentations.
There are, that's correct.
So item 5, presentation. Approval of minutes. Now I'm all mixed up. Go ahead, EJ.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the first item is 5A, approval of minutes. And for this presentation, we have Desiree Quintero, our Manager of Administration, and Board Secretary.
Good afternoon, board and committee members. The approval of minutes begins on packet page 3. The minutes for the West Basin Municipal Water District Board of Directors meetings are an integral part of the public meeting process. Minutes provide a history of the actions taken at board meetings, which is informative not only for members of the public, but for other stakeholders as well. Attached beginning on packet page 5 are the November 27th regular board meeting minutes for your consideration. With that, I will read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board approve the November 27, 2023 regular board meeting minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Desiree. Any questions?
No questions.
Any questions, Director Gray? Hearing none, I have no questions and looks like everything's ordered, so I would recommend it goes forward to the board with approval recommendation. Director Williams, concurs. All right. Item 5D is in boy, approve a sponsorship for fiscal year 23-24 community outreach event.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This item related to this sponsorship will be presented by Hazel Vasquez, our Deputy Board Secretary too.
Hey, good afternoon, Director Houston, members of the committee and board. If I can turn your attention to packet page 10, where item 5B begins. I have one item for your consideration today on behalf of Director Houston. He is requesting consideration for West Basin to sponsor the Screenland 5K, the race of the century, scheduled to be held on Sunday, March 10th, 2024. Director Houston would like the board to consider a sponsorship in the amount of $2,250, and that would grant West Basin a speaking opportunity for a district representative, a district booth or table to distribute district information, as well as an advertisement promoting district awareness. I would like to point out that the district has not sponsored this event in the past, but we do have additional information regarding this particular request beginning on packet page 12 under attachment A. If I turn your attention to the bottom of packet page 10, funds for the sponsorship of community outreach events are included in the fiscal year 23-24 community outreach budget and the total amount of $75,000. Approving the sponsorship before you today would leave a remaining balance of $34,450 in that budget. And you can see details on that in attachment B, and that begins on packet page 18. And with that, I would like to read the recommendation. Director Houston requests that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Screenland 5K, the Race of the Century event scheduled to be held on Sunday, March 10th, 2024 in the amount of $2,250. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you, Lisa. Any questions?
Thank you. You said we haven't
Sponsored,
What sponsored this in the?
not this event, no.
Can you tell us a little bit about the organization?
Sure. I know that they do this event every year. I personally have not participated in it at this time. And this, I think, is the first time they've ever asked me to look at a sponsorship. But as you see, I mean, they get a huge turnout. It's a big deal in the city of Culver City surrounding. They have a 5K, so it's like a run and a walk. It's kind of anybody and everybody's there. And not only are they giving us the booth opportunity, which is great, as well as, the speaking opportunity. I mean, they're like pretty much, I think, anything we'd like to do, they're accommodating. And even I'm looking through here, some of the leaders are some of the major folks in Culver City who are very engaged, like Jim Clark, Paul Jacobs, our mayor. So it's a good group. It's a lot of visibility. I think it's a great place for us to be. And my big thing is to have that booth there. And, again, we haven't done it before. I think it's a great opportunity for us to do it. So I'm excited if the board chooses to fund the sponsorship.
I'll support it.
Thank you. Director Gray, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
So with that, I will also support it. Obviously, yes to the full board. Director Williams concurred. So very good. Thank you. Okay, 5C as in cap. These are fiscal year 23-24 district sponsorship requests. So these are through the district, not one individual director.
That is correct. Item 5C has two potential district sponsorship requests. And again, for this presentation, we have Hazel Vasquez, our Deputy Board Secretary.
Jay, if I can turn your attention to packet page 19, where this item begins. As EJ mentioned, there are two items for your consideration today. The first one is the Urban Water Institute Spring 2024 Conference. This coming year, that is scheduled to be held February 21st through the 23rd, and that will be held in Palm Springs. Now, the last fiscal year, 22-23, we sponsored as a silver sponsor in the amount of $3,000. At this time, we don't have a recommended amount. We would like input from you today on what sponsorship we would like to propose for the full board to sponsor. There are a few different options, as you see listed there, beginning at $15,000 and then the lowest being $1,500. For additional information, you can turn your attention to attachment A, and that begins on packet page 21, where the details of each specific level are listed. The next item that I have for your consideration today is the South Bay Cities Council of Governments 24th Annual General Assembly. As you know, the COG is a longtime partner with us, and they are hosting their annual General Assembly on Thursday, March 20, 2024. In this last fiscal year, 22-23, we did sponsor that in the amount of $2,500. And there's various options to choose from for this go around as well, beginning with the highest at $10,000 and the lowest being the $2,500 option. For additional information regarding this sponsorship or this sponsorship request and the different levels offered, you can turn your attention to attachment B, and that begins on page 26 of the packet. Now, with this program, we currently have the total budget for this is $55,000, but we currently have a balance of $28,300 that would be available for the two sponsorships. As I mentioned, with the Urban Water Institute one, we do not have a recommended amount for the COG either, but we are happy to answer any questions pertaining to any recommendations that we may have. Now, with that, I'd like to read the recommendation. Staff recommends that the board consider approving sponsorship of the Urban Water Institute Spring 2024 Conference event scheduled to be held from Wednesday, February 21, 2024 through Friday, February 23rd, 2024. And number two, the SB COG's 24th Annual General Assembly event that is scheduled to be held on Thursday, March 28, 2024. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, Director Williams, question or comment?
I support both of them. So the level that we that. We've done it in the past. I think whatever we did last year, I would be willing to support that. And same for both.
Very good, thank you. That was easy. Director Gray, any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Director Gray. So, Director Williams helped us make the first decision, which is up to us. I agree. So look at the solar, right? $3,000
Yes.
for.
Yes.
And then, of course, I think we stay in the same boat from last year with COGS, $2,500. Two of us sounds like we agree. You all move that forward to our agenda later this month. Okay, ready to get. Okay. Next. Item 5D as dog consideration of resolution number 10-23-1199, amending the employee travel policy.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This item begins on packet page 30. And I'll do my best to present this item, though we do have a number of different staff members here that are available to answer any questions. You might recall that back in October, West Basin staff brought an item before the, I believe it was the Ethics Committee in relation to the ethics code related to meals and travel for our board of directors. At that time, when it got to the October board meeting, we brought two specific items. One was related to the directors and another similar policy related to West Basin staff. With the direction from the board of directors, West Basin staff went back and amended the language that was ultimately adopted and approved by the board of directors by a resolution just last month in November. But upon the discussion with the members of the board of directors, there was a question in relation to how this would be applied to staff. And there was a member of the board that specifically suggested that the same policy should not be levied on the staff. It should be slightly different. I've had an opportunity to speak with that director, and though I don't want to speak on his behalf and put words in his mouth, I wanted to address a couple of things. We're bringing this item back because we do need to make some changes to these code provisions as they relate to staff. The draft that is before you is identical to what was recently adopted by the board of directors and applies to the board of directors. It's important to note that in order for a staff member to expense a business meal, that receipt needs to be submitted to our finance team. It must be approved by their manager, and then ultimately it must be approved by the general manager. So there are multiple layers of review as far as what those what the receipts are for and the meal that was expensed. Obviously, the same rules apply as far as no alcohol or anything like that. A reasonable tip is available. But it's important to note that there also must be a clear benefit to the district. And again, I stress this, that it is upon the manager of that department, as well as the general manager, to enforce the integrity and the intent of these provisions, but also make sure that we're always acting in the best interests of the district. So with that, the staff has presented the resolution for you. You can see that beginning on packet page 32, we have a very similar red line version of the existing code provisions as are in our admin code. And you can see that the very specific edits are identical to what was recently adopted by the board of directors. So you can see there on packet page 33, item G, you can see that for travel in state, but outside of West Basin's tax home, which is that 50-mile radius of the district headquarters, these rules would apply. The same income tax implications apply for those expenses that are within the radius of the district headquarters. And if you move down to packet page 35, at the bottom portion, you can see where we begin to identify what a business meal is. We've edited out the old 20, 30, 50, similar to what we did with the board of directors. We define business meals at the top of packet page 36. The employees may recover expenses for meals that further the interests of the district. That's a business meal, consistent with the below. Business meal expenses include the cost of meal, non-alcoholic beverages, an applicable tax and a reasonable tip. And you can see here that for business meals, similar to what we did with the board of directors, we've increased that amount to $75 per meal. And then if you continue to scroll down in relation to business meals when there is overnight travel. So this is the same thing. If you're traveling at a conference, what are you enabled to submit for a receipt? And we've applied the same standard. It's the $110. That is not a per diem. I want to make sure that that's very clear. Traveling does not enable you to submit a receipt for $110. What you are able to submit are similar receipts for meals that total up to $110. However, that is minus if you have a breakfast and a lunch at a conference, then you would not be able to submit your receipts for your breakfast or your lunch. The documentation is identified in number 3, documentation and travel companions. So again, if they were to take somebody to lunch for a business related expense, they need to go through the same approval process as they would with their reimbursement. Their department manager would need to approve that expense. And then of course, the general manager would also need to approve those expenses. And number 4, no reimbursement when a meal is provided. Employees are not entitled to meal reimbursement for attendance at a meeting or a conference in which a meal is provided unless approved by the general manager. Again, we will enforce this as needed to make sure that those staff members that are lucky enough to join a conference and really partake in what those conferences offer. Typically, there's a lunch program, so you'd want to attend that lunch. Employees' obligation to reimburse for unauthorized meal expenses. This is the same rules that apply to the board of directors. If they were to go over their $110 and receive that money, they would need to reimburse that. If there were any expenses that made it through that review process and were paid up, then again, they would need to reimburse the district for those expenses. And then, of course, if you turn to packet page 39, you can see resolution number 10231199. It would incorporate all of these changes to the meal and travel provisions. Again, our intent here was to make something that our finance team that process these receipts and review them as easy as possible. And as such, we felt that having the same rules apply would be a benefit to them because it's easy to interpret and everybody understands those rules. But I really do want to stress that when it comes to meal reimbursement and travel expenses on behalf of staff, we take this very seriously. Again, it does require the review of the manager and the general manager. So I will ultimately be responsible for all approved expenses, not only for travel, but also meals as well. So with that, staff recommends that the board consider adopting resolution number 10231199, a resolution of the Board of Directors of West Space Municipal Water District, amending resolution number 1161024, Administrative Code, as it relates to the employee travel policy. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions. I would just like to recommend that this go before the full board.
Well,
With no recommendation, just have another little discussion on this as they see fit on a couple days from now. Right?
correct, on the 20th.
That's what I would.
Very good. Any questions, Director Gray?
No, thank you.
Thank you. And my position's always been, I think that the same rule should apply to the staff as it does to the board. So I don't have, that variant of concern, quite frankly. But sent to the full board with no recommendation from this committee. But it really looks like you're pretty much getting the same thing here. And so, I think that's the most fair way to do it, and the way I've always thought about it. I think that the board should have any other privileges than the staff or vice versa. So, I want to say thank you to EJ and the team for working on this. So we'll just send it, no recommendation. And pass it on. This is me, right? Correct. I believe so. Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to our information calendar, 6A. Fiscal year 2023 annual financial audit, annual audit, and annual comprehensive financial report.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. For this presentation from staff, we have Wendy Nakamura, our principal accountant and auditor for the presentation.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, directors. My presentation starts on page 42 of your package. Government Code 53891 requires each local agency to submit the annual financial reports to the State Controller's Office within 7 months after closing of the fiscal year. For West Basin, the report are due on February 1, 2024. To complete these reports, West Basin must use the data from audited financial statement. In 1984, Congress passed the Single Audit Act, which required the annual audit of the agency who spent more than $750,000 of the federal grant for the year. West Basin spent $3.1 million federal grant in 2023 for the Carson Phase 2 project. Therefore, we are required to do the single audit. REMS CPA, a certified public accounting firm, complete the annual audit and the single audit for West Basin. I have Laura, the manager from REMS CPA here today, and she will present the audit result after my presentation. Based on the data from annual audit the financial statement, staff updated the 2023 annual comprehensive financial report. In this report, there's 3 sections. Section number 1 is present general information about West Basin. Section number 2, including the independent auditor's report, management discussion and analysis, basic financial statement, and the notes. Section number 3, including 10-year history of West Basin financial and then water sales data. There are some major financial changes in fiscal year 2023. I am on page 43 of your package. West Basin had a negative change in net position of $10 million due to decrease in imported water sales and then standby revenue, and increase in recycling water costs, pension costs, and then other post-employment benefit costs. West Basin imported water sales in 2023 were $152 million. Our purchase were $126 million, resulting in a net revenue of $27 million. However, the recycling water sales was $38 million. The cost was $49 million, resulting in net loss of $11 million. Standby revenue decreased from 2022 $10 million to 2023 $6.2 million, were down $3.8 million. West Basin terminated the 2004 swap agreement with the Citibank on March 1, 2023. West Basin implemented GASB 96, subscription-based information technology arrangement in 2023, which is we are required by Government Accounting Standard Board. West Basin debt coverage for 2023 was 1.36. The legal coverage requirement is 1.15. Staff is ready to submit the annual comprehensive financial report to Government Finance Officer Association for the award of Excellence in Financial Reporting. After this meeting, West Basin has been awarded every year since 2006. That concludes my presentation. I pose for any question you may have.
No questions. I hope that we can have this presented for me. Well, when it comes time.
Okay, but I think we're not quite done, right? Now we have a speaker.
Okay, so I'll pass to Laura, the manager from REM CPA. She'll providing the information regarding the 2023 annual audit.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm the audit manager on this engagement. So I just want to go a little bit over our responsibilities of the audit, what regulations we followed when performing the audit. So we audited the financial statements in accordance with U.S. generally accepted auditing standards, government auditing standards, and state minimum auditing requirements. So the way that we do is, in order to plan the audit, we plan the audit to express an opinion whether management's financial statements are fairly stated in all material respects, in accordance with GAAPs. And one of the things, it's very general, but essentially we want to emphasize that they are management statements. We help finance with putting these together, but they all come from the district's records and all the information provided by the finance department. And we like to emphasize that we provide reasonable assurance. We do our audit on a risk basis. We are not able to look at every single transaction. There is just way too many. So we look at it to provide reasonable assurance that there are no material misstatements in the financial statements being presented to you. And then we provided an unmodified opinion. So this is the clean opinion, the best opinion, and the one that you want. So in our opinion, there are no material misstatements in the annual financial report that's being presented to you. So our audit process is split into two separate categories. The first one is reviewing the internal controls over financial reporting. And so this is the first stage that we do, where we're looking at the district's internal controls over various areas like the disbursements, what kind of approvals need to go through before a check is made, what process is in place, and is the district following when cash is received, checks are received. And we go over different areas to make sure that the controls are in place, not necessarily to provide an opinion over those controls, but to assist us when we're doing the second part of the audit, which is looking at the actual numbers. So a couple of the areas that we look at would be your cash disbursements. We're looking at purchasing and contracts, making sure that the contracts that are being entered into are in line with the policy that the board put in place, so that they're following the different thresholds that need approval. And we're also looking at the different controls in place over payroll. And the last one is common areas, which is looking at your bank reconciliation, your journal entries, what kind of controls are in place to make sure that everything that is being posted is following the same controls that the district has in place. So that's the first part that we have in the audit procedure. The second part of that is going to be what we call the year-end audit. And at this point is where we're actually looking at the numbers as of June 30th. And we're doing different procedures like reaching out to banks and making sure that the balance of cash at the end of the year agrees to what is recorded in the district's books. We're looking at different documents, support for checks that were issued, support for cash receipts that were received. So we're looking at different evidence to make sure that the transactions that are reported and presented in those statements are, they seem like there is support in there for it. We're also reading the board minutes for the entire fiscal year. We actually are required to read minutes up to the date of issuance. So we're looking, I believe we issued in November. December.
November.
November. So we're reading minutes up to November 2023 to make sure that there isn't any changes that happen after 6:30 that need to be disclosed. So we also, like I mentioned before, assist the finance department in preparing the financial statements and making sure that they are in compliance with GAAP. So if we go to the next slide, some significant changes from prior year. Like Wendy mentioned, we did, the district implemented GASB 96. And with this change, it didn't have a significant number change in the district's books, but what it required is that the district review all of its agreements and any arrangements that qualified under this GASB needed to be now recorded and presented in the basic financial statements. And this is an evaluation that the district will continue to perform annually going forward. The second significant change was, like Wendy mentioned, again, the single audit. The district hasn't had a single audit in the recent years. So this was something new that happened that's different from last year's report. And then moving on to completing the process and the type of report that we provided you. So the first one is our independent auditor's report. This is going to be page 1 of the financial statement. So that first page in the financial section, and it just goes over our opinion. Like I mentioned before, we have a clean opinion, so an unmodified opinion that we issued. There was no material misstatements that needed to get corrected. And then the other one that we have here, the other report that we issued was attached to your single audit. So with the single audit report, this was just saying that we reviewed the compliance of the type of expenditures that the district had, and everything was in compliance. Again, with that one, we had no, we didn't come up with any findings. That on that report, let me just see. That one is separate from the financial statement. So we did issue a separate report. And on that one, we're just saying that there was nothing to know. The last couple pages on that single audit report just again verifies that there is no non-compliance that was noted, no internal controls findings that were noted. So based on our procedures, we also, there was nothing to report with the single audit. All of the expenditures that we reviewed as part of this appear to be in compliance with what the grant directive was. Some of the other required communications that we provide with you are 2 letters that you should have received. One of it is what we call the SAS 114 letter, and that's communication with those charged with governance. This is a long letter, but in summary, it just says that there were no uncorrected misstatements that need to be reported to the board. We had no difficulties with management or the finance department. They were very responsive through our entire audit. And so we always appreciate them making our process a lot easier. And there was no disagreements with management. So that is the first report you should have received. The second one is a report on internal control over financial reporting. So this again says that we looked at your internal controls over financial reporting, not to provide an opinion, but with that, there was no deficiency. So the controls that the district said were in place were actually in place. When we looked at the compliance part, anything over contracts or anything else that had to do with policies that the district has in place, we found no matters of non-compliance. So there is nothing to report. So that's always good on our end when the district is following everything that is supposed to be following. And so the last couple slides are just a little bit about us. I know we've been with the district's auditors for 3 years. We started with COVID, so we've been a little bit remote. So I just wanted to go a little bit over our firm statistics, a little background information on us. So the firm was established in 1948. We have about 35 employees at the moment. majority female, with about a 35% female. We currently have 7 partners, 5 managers, and the rest are staff and support staff. And so we do provide auditing services for over 70 governmental agencies. So these are a mix of governmental, not-for-profit, cities and districts. So industry involvement, these are a lot of acronyms. As a firm, we want to make sure that we are aware of any new pronouncements that are coming out that affect both us in the profession but our clients as well. So as we are here, a couple of them, we are members of the Government Finance of Officers, so the GFOA, the Society of Municipal Finance Officers, Society of Cal CPA, and AICPA. So we are very involved with anything that is related to both our clients and our profession to make sure that we are able to know what is coming and help our cities or districts with any upcoming implementations. All of our partners and managers are part of the GFOA review. So like Wendy mentioned, the district has received the Award of Excellence in Financial Reporting since 2006. So as a firm, we have decided to volunteer our time to review those. So all of those that get reviewed and when those applications go in, get reviewed by volunteers. So all of our managers and partners currently volunteer to review those for other entities. And then one of our partners is also a member of the GAC, and they meet every month with any issues that are coming up and making sure that we are all informed and on the same place. Sometimes when these regulations come out, they are not as clear. And so we gather with other professionals to make sure that we are providing our clients with the best and most clear information that we can. And lastly, one of our partners is currently the Inland Empire Cal CPA chapter president. So we try to be involved as much as we can. The last slide here is just a little bit back on our student and community engagement. So we have actually one of our partners that is an accounting professor. Is one of the reasons why I decided to stay in accounting the first time I took her class. So I think that's also very helpful when you have partners that are taking the time to inspire kids that are coming into college to actually stay in the profession, especially now that we're seeing so many students not go into the accounting profession. We also work with the chapter of Beta Alpha Psi, which is a students association to kind of provide students information on different accounting backgrounds and what they can do with their accounting degree once they graduate. We found that a lot of students don't know the different routes, how vast accounting can be and the different routes that they can take. So we find it helpful to just kind of provide them information on where this career can take them if they decide that accounting is for them. We do volunteer at various student events and literacy programs. We do financial literacy through Cal CPA, where they go through high schools and kind of help students at an early age kind of provide some knowledge on that maybe they can't get anywhere else. And lastly, the majority of our new hires are college graduates. So we recruit highly from various colleges. Just because, it's how we all got started. So that was just a little bit about us. A lot of information. I didn't pause for breaks. So did you guys have any questions about the audit process, anything about the firm itself, or anything else?
Thank you very much. I will ask Greg Williams if you had any questions or comments.
Just on that comment on your work with Beta Alpha Phi.
Mm-hmm.
That's at Santa Barbara? Or Sandburg?
Yeah, so that is the university that is closest to our office. We also work with Cal Baptist. So those are the ones that are closest to us, in the region.
Yeah, I like the idea that you work with students to inform them of what professions are really available in the county. Because so many get the wrong information and they miss out on a wonderful profession.
Yeah.
So I support that.
The Director Gray, any questions? And, well, first of all, I don't have any questions, number one, but number two, it seems clear in your whole presentation, there was nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
This particular audit, I think in the past, we've had little minor
Recommendations, yeah.
recommendation. That's why it's been good to implement them and you call them to our attention, but they were, again, minor. But this year, I don't see anything that you really brought to our attention that stood out. So, which is probably a very good thing. Yes. But with that, I don't have any other questions. Thank you for the good work on our behalf and the agency, and thank you also to our staff that gives you what you need. Ultimately, we do know this needs to be very objective, no bias, everybody's participating, so, thank you, and also thanks for the highlights, of your organization as well. This is an information item, so it'll, be on that, the board, and obviously if somebody wants to pull it for conversation, they can, right, EJ? Yes. But, beyond that, that's what we need here, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, like we're getting the last item here, information calendar 6B as in boy, our monthly financial.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, for this presentation, we have Sandra Ruiz, our accountant too.
Oh, thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, Chairman Houston, members of the committee and board. I am bringing agenda item number 6B. You will find that on packet page 195. This is the monthly financial report. As required by West Basin Administrative Code, staff is required to submit various financial reports to the board to keep them apprised of the financial condition and future needs of the district. With that, item number 6EA begins on packet page 197. And this is the demand list for the period ending November 30th, 2023. The report concludes on packet page 203. For the month, you will see we spent 15.6 million in expenditures. Of that, 11.2 was the Metropolitan Water District bill, which accounted for 71% of the overall spent. This amount is about 2.7 million less than last month. Other than that, I didn't really notice, or we didn't see anything out of the ordinary. So I'll pause if you have any questions.
Any questions? Thank you.
The next item is item 6BB, and that begins on packet page 204. This is the West Basin Cash and Investment Report again for the period ending November 30th, 2023. Total market value of the investments is 76.5 million, and this is up approximately 5.3 million from last month, partially because of the less spent. On the upper corner, you will see the pie chart listing out all the investments. The investment pool accounting for 37.9% of total all investments. Next page, packet page 205, is the credit quality distribution for the month of November 30th. Next page, packet page 206, item is the bar graph for the maturity distribution. Total market value is 76.5 million. Next two pages, packet page 207 and 208, you will see the transaction ledgers. Acquisitions for the month were about 3.6. Dispositions was 2.7. The next pages are the listing of all the investments that we currently have. And that the report concludes on packet page 220. That I'll pause if there are any questions, or I believe Mary Ann also wanted to.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment. So as you recall, last month at your board meeting, we've received the approval to move forward on the 4 small and community banks. Sandra has been working with them to get that going. We also acknowledge that we are having to coordinate site visits. So we're going to be working with Desiree and her team to set up those site visits with Director Williams. And I understand maybe Director Houston also wanted to be involved in that. So we will work with, as I said, Desiree and her team to get those set up. Most likely it'll happen in January. I think this time of year is a bit busy. So if that works for both of you, we will continue in that process. That's all I have. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Congratulations. Handle that when I get out, but, you know, if you'll look at the schedules, I may or not be in all of these, Director Williams, I understand. You need me. But for what it's worth, yeah, but for what it's worth, you can inform me if I can make it or what have you, I can do that. So,
Thank you.
thank you for that. Let's see.
Okay.
That's it on this part, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So normally at this time, we would also present the November 2023 water sales, but we are currently working on the water sales today and getting those out to our customers. So we unfortunately do not have a report at this time. Next item is item 6BD, and that's on packet page 222. That's the Directors Conference and Travel Expense Report through November 2023. And then the last packet page 223, the last one is Executive Management and Staff Travel Expense for November 2020. And with that, that concludes the monthly financial report. If there are any questions, we have an answer.
Very good. Thank you. Let's see, Director Williams. any questions?
No, thank you.
And Director Ray. I don't have any questions. Thank you very much. Really thorough, and I do like when we get to see the water center reports. So you'll have those obviously at the board meeting front.
Yes.
Well, with that, we're making done with all of our items. So thank you, everybody, for good reports and being here, et cetera. And closed session, we have no closed session.
That is correct. No closed session.
Director comments, future agenda items, Director Billy.
No, thank you.
Director Gray's on here anymore. Very good.
Houston, may I just make a comment? Sorry.
Oh.
I wanted to introduce our newest team member here at, in the finance department. I apologize if I should say something earlier, but I noticed she's with us. So I wanted to make sure that Stephanie Soto back here. Stephanie was hired through a competitive recruitment process. She was a student at Long Beach State, so local.
Best school in the nation.
And she may look familiar. She was actually an intern with us just before COVID. So we're really excited to have her start. She started last Monday, so just been a week with us, but we're again very excited to have her here. So I wanted you both to be able to meet her.
Thank you very much. Welcome aboard. You did look a little bit familiar. Back there. So thank you. And I know EJ's got something, and I'm just going to say also, for me, I do have no additional comments. And our next scheduled meeting is January 17th, 2024. This committee. Before we conclude, of course, I believe our general manager, EJ Caldwell, has a comment.
No, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I was going to try to steal Mary Ann's thunder, but I'm happy that she introduced one of our Stephanies, Stephanie Soto. But we have two additional new employees, or relatively new. We have Stephanie Miyame, our new office assistant. We also have Danielle Manzano, our HR specialist. And no person here at West Basin is more important than the other, but I will tell you that Elisa, our new manager of human resources, has been holding down the fort as a one-person team and show and force. And so having somebody to support her was crucial to our efforts. And then last but not least, I did want to point out, today is the last Finance and Administrative Committee meeting for Mary Ann Rexroth, who is retiring I think that's a dream for every single one of us to retire someday. But I think that we can always strive to be the best in the industry. And with our finance team, we've always had one of the strongest finance teams in the industry. Mary Ann has been a significant part of that. She's been here for 28 years.
I started when I was 10.
And it is a very well-deserved retirement. She gave us plenty of notice. She's worked with our team. She's worked with every single member of our finance team to get us ready for her departure, and she'll be leaving us at the very end of the year. And so I want to say thank you very much to Mary Ann. And I do believe that her team has brought cake. Who doesn't like cake? To recognize her. But I did want to make those comments. And of course, this will be her last board meeting coming up in just a few weeks on December 20th. So thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you, Jay.
Well, then no, you can't go.
I've already tried that.
Before I say, I want to say something about Marion, of course, but I also want to say there's so many new faces coming in here that, you know, the board member, we're not all going to remember all your faces yet for a little while, so bear with us. We're really glad to have, you know, new members coming in and be part of our family and our team. So glad you're here. Again, it's going to take a while, but it's okay. So bear with each of us. But that being said, I can't believe it, you know, that Mary Ann is going to be retiring. After a long time of service to one agency, you know, the place inside and out. And giving us and thank you for all your commitment to the agency. But also, remember, it's not just the district or this agency, but it's really all the constituents, people you serve. And, you know, in the staff role, you're doing it on their behalf, just as much as we're up here doing it on their behalf, you know. So we always think about it as a much broader picture. It's not like running a little business and we're really worried about our internal things. I mean, we have a lot of obligation to the public, and you just showed that. All the reporting, all the things, you know, eyes are always on us. And so you've been in this a long time, and thank you so much for your service. You know, it'll be nice too at the board meeting that hopefully that most all of us be present. Also get to wish you well. But with that, I will also ask Director Williams, if you want to say anything right now at this committee meeting. This is our last committee meeting.
This is the last chance I'll get to say something.
Well, maybe the board meeting
At the
too,
board
but
meeting.
but
At board
now's the
meeting.
time when, you know.
Well, I just
the whole
want to
crew's
say,
here.
congratulations on your retirement, and best wishes for all future endeavors, because I know you are not done.
You'll see me around. I'll be at Water Harvest and a few other, if they'll have me.
Very good. So, good luck to you, and all the best.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Well, again, on behalf of those of us who are here, thank you so much. And, you know, we'll look forward to our board meeting. And thanks again, staff. With that, we're adjourned.